And today I'm talking to Lindsay Montgomery from Lindsay Montgomery Nutrition and Fitness. Hi, Lindsay.
Hello.
And you are a nutritionist and you do sports fitness.
Yeah,
you do a multiple range of things, don't you?
a lot going on.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, I'm Lindsay. I run my company, which is Lindsay Montgomery Nutrition and Fitness, as Emma just said. The business has been running for about 15 odd years. It's had a change in name during that time, but always just me as my one-man band, seeing clients one-to-one for nutrition consultations, nutrition coaching, and personal training. And then I've specialised the fitness side more recently into the postnatal element and done sort of mum and baby classes as well. But at the moment, the business is really, I'm sort of moving it much more towards the nutrition side, which is really my main passion.
Okay, so you're still doing the fitness side, but more sort of focusing on the nutrition now.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So does that mean that you're going to stop doing classes and one-to-one PT?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, my one-to-one PT clients are all now really good friends of mine, which is lovely. So it's really nice to do it, and I would never stop. I just wouldn't actively go seeking more people, if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
So were they always in-person clients?
Yes.
Or you didn't do it on Zoom or anything?
I did in lockdown, as we all did.
Yes.
I used to go out into my garden at 7 o'clock in the morning, bouncing around, doing burpees and shouting at my phone, and we'd only just moved to the area, so the neighbours must have thought I was mad. So yeah, everything went online just for that period of time. But I like the names in your podcast, the face-to-face connection. I like to see people with the nutrition side of things. A lot of it is on Zoom, just because people can't come to see me where I am often. But you still can, you still get that connection.
You do. So does that mean that you've got clients all over the UK then?
Yes, and then the furthest one is Australia.
Oh wow! So international.
Apparently so. Yeah, exactly.
So you can do that in person. You can do that on Zoom.
Yeah.
Because you're based in Marlow, is that right?
I am.
In Bucks.
Yes.
Yeah. So nutrition is a thing at the moment. I'm seeing it a lot, and I don't know if it's just because I'm interested in it. I'm seeing it's the algorithms on social media. I'm seeing all these sort of fitness and nutrition gurus, if you like, but they've all kind of got their own ideas of what's what. So what you should be eating, what you shouldn't be eating. It's quite confusing, isn't it?
It is a bit.
And do you find that with your clients, they come to you because they're just confused and they just need that guidance?
Yeah, a lot of the time. I mean, one stat to always remember is that only 2%, well, there or thereabouts, of the information on social media is scientifically accurate when it comes to nutrition and anything regarding health, which is quite terrifying, because social media is actually where most people get all their information from. So a lot of what I do when I speak to someone initially is sort of trying to simplify everything for them, and it's a lot of sort of myth busting as well. They'll come thinking X, and then I'm sort of trying to educate them to actually it's Y. Things like that. So
things like, do I need to cut the carbs completely, things like that, or fad diets, or reducing calories?
A lot of extreme eating behaviors from things that they might have seen. The main one these days is the amount of supplements that people take. So people can arrive with this whole bag of pills, and they'll be like, right, let's sort through this then. And I'll just be like, no, you don't need any of that. Let's just really bring it back down. But supplement companies are selling a dream, and it's very easy to fall into that trap. I've definitely even done it myself before, and I even know what's right and what's wrong in that realm. So we just want a quick fix. People just want something to be easy.
That's the thing, isn't it? And people think that it's an overnight success, but it is the long game, isn't it? When it comes to nutrition. But I know you were saying that you're kind of easing out of the PT side of it, but would you still advise, if you weren't kind of doing the PT with them, you'd still advise that they were moving as well?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So the two things have worked really well in the business together.
Yeah.
And I can still obviously advise on exercise with the nutrition clients that I see, which is great. It's great to have both of those, qualifications to bring to the party. yeah, exercise and movement is so crucial. When you're looking at health, you're looking at this sort of 360 angle. So you've got your nutrition, you've got your movement, and then even things like stress management and sleep, it all comes as this whole big package. You can't ever really focus on one thing. That's why, going back to those supplements, people are like, oh, I'll just take that pill and I'll be fine. And it's like, well, but are you eating well? Are you moving? Are you sleeping? Are you stressed? And if you haven't sort of tackled any of that stuff, a pill is just not it's just not going to do it, I'm afraid.
Yeah. And do you find that with your clients it's not one size fits all?
Yeah,
especially
definitely.
with hormones, and you mentioned postnatal as well.
Yeah.
So you're kind of doing, so people that just have babies and just trying to get back into wellness again and fitness.
Yeah, women's health is a real area of interest for me. I'm actually doing a talk on nutrition for the menopause next week, because it's an area where there's a lot going on, and also I feel like women can become quite vulnerable in that time, and again so susceptible to this marketing of these magic things that will apparently solve all their life's issues, which is quite scary. So that's definitely excuse me, an area that I really am passionate about, obviously being a woman myself.
Yes.
And it's very up and down, men don't understand the things we have to deal with. So yeah, I'm really interested in all of that. Most of my research at the moment is always looking at women's health, more specifically sort of perimenopause, postmenopause, how to deal and navigate that whole change in women.
It's quite complex though, isn't it, with all the hormones and the changes and all the different symptoms, because it was always hot flushes, but actually there's so much more, and it can start to creep in quite early on, can't it, before things are really happening.
People can be living with certain symptoms and not even really sort of realize or think that is anything to do with any form of sort of perimenopause or hormonal shift. But this conversation is definitely changing, and it's getting a lot of airtime now. Whereas before it was very much like, just get on with it. Women would just sort of quietly suffer in silence, which makes me feel really sad. Whereas now there's definitely this like women empowerment movement, and a lot more money's being pumped into research in women, which is really great. And then obviously alongside that comes a lot of misinformation as well. So it's just trying to keep it simple and try not to get sort of like lost in the noise, basically.
Because there is a lot of information. We've seen a lot of the programs. Davina McCall was one that really talks about it a lot. There's lots of books and lots of people now talking about it, which is good.
It is,
but as you say, it's not a one size fits all, and there's so many different things we could be doing. So, and it's holistic, isn't it? It's not just the drugs that we could be offered. It's the nutrition side as well, and wellness and the living and
all of it,
recognizing these symptoms.
And just doing something for yourself. It's quite a big moment, I think, where not only are you going through a hormonal shift, but also your life is probably changing quite a lot, because if you've had children, perhaps they're moving out, or perhaps they're going through their own puberty, or they're dealing with their own exams and social pressures and relationships, and so the family dynamic can shift. Even relationships can fall apart, and women's careers can take off again because they've done the baby bit and whatever. So there's a lot going on anyway, so there's a lot of things to be navigating. So you've just got to sort of see it almost like as a recalibration of, now it's my time to focus on myself. What do I need to go through this change and come out strong, fit and healthy, to then go through the rest of my life able and independent and just feeling good.
And the sorts of exercising, the sorts of nutrition that we should be having is important as well. So strength training or resistance training.
That's important. Getting a lot of airtime at the moment, for sure. For good reason.
And they say that, and I'm 46 now, and I must be at that age. I don't know if I'm there yet, if I'm getting any symptoms. I probably am. And I am noticing that at one time I was running around crazy, doing all the burpees and things, and I still do, but I'm starting to enjoy the slower things now. So maybe it is my age.
Well,
possibly.
no, I think it's a really nice way to train.
Yeah,
It's really empowering. I think there's nothing makes you feel more like badass than like lifting this big weight off the floor and throwing it over your head or whatever it is. You know, back in the day, a gym would never see a woman in the weights area. They were always on a cross trainer, and gyms themselves were set up for cardio, really. And then you'd have this small area for the weights, which would just be full of like grunting men throwing things around. And now, you know, almost like a 50-50 split of women going into the weights area, which is really good to see, because it's so important to make sure that we stay strong throughout the whole of our life. You know, not even when you're going through the menopause, even from a younger age, you know, it's always really key. So it's good that it's changing.
I remember being younger and being scared to lift weights, actually, because I would think I'd bulk up. But it's a myth, isn't it? It's quite hard to bulk up.
It's really hard to gain muscle.
Yeah, you need to kind of put a bit of effort in it to kind of be a bodybuilder. That's a very
big
different
time. Yeah.
So it's not about kind of building muscle, being massive and bulking up, is it? It's being lean and strong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It takes a lot of effort to, you know, look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, and a lot of illegal substances, but that's a story for another day. But you know, you look at a CrossFit athlete, female CrossFit athlete, which, you know, some people might describe as being bulky, but you know, the amount of work that they have to put in to be that strong, to be that fit, and to have the physique that they do is different to your average gym goer who's, you know, going lifting a couple of times a week, for example. So yeah, it's definitely not something that women should fear. But I also feel that, you know, that strong versus skinny mentality is shifting, and people want to look strong. You know, they don't want to look like they're fading away, hopefully, anyway. So that's always nice.
The 90s waif looks kind of out of fashion at the moment,
yes,
which is good.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was curves as well, which is good. We are embracing body types because we can get hung up on that, can't we, what we look like. But as you kind of mentioned it at the beginning, it's about how you feel and the wellness side. So that's important, and sleeping and making sure that we're regulated.
Yeah, because if you feel good, that's kind of all that matters, isn't it? Because it gives you confidence, and that's really what we're looking for when we're going to the gym and doing all this stuff. You know, and maybe you're not a size 10, but like, it doesn't matter if you feel really good and you've got energy to sustain you for the day. That's the most important thing. And the right body size will look different for everybody. Everybody's got their own sort of set point where they can happily live their life without too much sacrifice, but still look in the mirror or put clothes on and feel good. And that is totally individual. So, you know, there is, like you said, there is no one size fits all approach when it comes to anything.
And literally with the clothing.
Yes, exactly.
But it is good because it is about sustaining. It's not, you know, back I remember in the 90s, and it was the slim fast, it's the yo-yo dieting, the Special K, pinch an inch, and all that kind of thing. And that's out the window now. That's not. We're more educated now, aren't we?
Yeah, and just the way that people talk. We watched Love Actually the other day, I think Christmas Eve. And even the way that they talk about body size, I was sort of cringing watching the film, because it's not spoken about like that anymore. And obviously that's quite a light-hearted comedy film. And just the things that they say, you're just like, oh gosh, you wouldn't get away with that these days. And so that's changed as well. And we grew up, you know, with mums who were constantly on a diet, and I see in our generation, you know, that impact on people's relationships with food, relationships with themselves. You know, a lot of what I do is trying to help women with their relationship with food, you know, this binging and restricting cycle, you know, labeling food as good versus bad, never feeling comfortable in their own skin. Like, that's a huge thing, and that comes really from that diet culture that we grew up with, and that sort of conversation and the way that people would talk about food. Like I've got 2 young girls, I wouldn't dream of ever mentioning anything about a diet, or mummy's not going to have the cake because she's watching her figure or something like that. But we grew up with all of that. So yeah, it's moving in the right direction, I would say.
That's the thing, because we are the role models, aren't we, to our children? So if we start using that sort of language in front of them, then they're going to have the issues. It's a knock-on effect. But we want to change it, we want to shift it. And so it is eating, just understanding what we should be eating. And it's a lot of it is, another buzzword at the moment is ultra processed food. That's a big thing at the moment. I was watching a program about it yesterday, and even having, not even the calorie side of it, but just having a lot of ultra processed food can affect our weight and the way, and obviously the way that we feel as well.
Well, our whole food environment is a mess. Basically. And it's really quite sad. My husband recently cycled through a bit of France, and they stopped for lunch, and he said that all of the workers on the building site, they all stop for lunch. They literally down tools and they go into a restaurant to eat. They sit at a table, they talk to each other, and they eat a proper meal, and then they all go back to work. And you see, I'm not shaming builders here, by the way, I'm shaming just the way that we all do it. We're all guilty of it. There, you grab a sandwich from the shop that's in a packet and could probably sit in that packet for years without going off. It's got nothing in it, really. If you ever open up a pre-packaged sandwich, there's nothing in there. You wolf that down without even paying attention. People are still sat at their desks, at their laptops, whatever. Then it usually comes with a packet of crisps and a fizzy drink and a chocolate bar as a part of a meal deal. So you pick that up too. Before you know it, you've eaten like 600 calories. You've not even been aware of what you've been doing.
And they're empty calories, and it's not nutritious.
No, there's nothing in there.
You look at the bread ingredients, and it's listing about 25 ingredients. Half of it you don't recognise what it is. So we say that if it's not in your kitchen or in the supermarket, why is it in your food?
I saw something popped up on my Instagram the other day about this lady that, I don't know why she'd kept it, but a Big Mac burger or like one of them with no salad in it. Just like a plain cheeseburger thing from McDonald's. And I can't remember exactly, was it 20 years later she opened it and it was still perfectly fine. No mold, nothing. And I was like, that's because that is so processed. And it's not even like what you are ingesting, it's what you're not ingesting at the same time. So you're not ingesting fiber, vitamins, minerals, all these things that we get from whole food sources. And it's just become so like prevalent in our diet. You can't even go and fill up your car with petrol without walking past a whole array of these ultra processed foods. And if it's not the fault of the individual, it's really the fault of the environment. We only have a certain amount of willpower. Some people have a lot more than others. That's genetics, that's how you were brought up, that's your personality. It's all very different. I could walk past, I'm lucky enough that I know I could walk through a petrol station and not be bothered about the chocolate bars on the side. But for a lot of people, that's crippling. That is like, I have to have that.
Or they're hungry, or they're out and they're looking for something. And it's, I know myself, and I'm looking for something that's relatively healthy. It's going to fill me up. And it's like, I don't want
Where is it?
Where is it? I'm looking for it, and it's not there.
It's hard.
And also, they do say that the ultra processed food, a lot of it is addictive as well. So it's not actually our fault, because it's designed to make us eat more of it. Yes,
well, and also just the way that it's made up, it's so easy to eat really quickly. And that's the whole point. Pringles hit the nail on the head with once you pop, you just can't stop, and they are probably
your brain's
the worst.
Not registering that you've eaten it, so you just carry on.
And it's almost going back to like fiber, there's nothing really in it that you have to chew. 2 chews and you can swallow it down. So so easily. Like when I was pregnant and feeling really sick all the time, tubes of original Pringles were my savior, but God, I could eat them so quickly. Whereas if you're eating, you're dipping, say, Pringles into hummus and eating it, you've got the whole tube gone. You swap that for carrot sticks, for example. I know it's not the same, but as an example of a real food versus a essentially fake food, you know, that you wouldn't go through a whole bag of carrots because there's fibre in there. You've got to crunch it, you've got to chew it, it takes time to digest, it really fills you up. That whole food matrix is just so important when it's coming to appetite, weight control, and things like that.
And that's good as well, because if you get into that mentality, because a lot of the time we're snacking and we want to just continue, like especially in the evening.
Yeah.
So if it is something like a carrot, it you will be there for ages
Yeah.
snacking.
Yeah.
So that's quite a good thing to snack on for
Yeah.
that reason as well.
Well, because often snacking is mindless, isn't it? Especially that evening snacking.
Yeah.
So if you normally take a box of chocolates through to watch the TV, just take a bowl of fruit through.
Yeah.
So chop it up. That fibre you're crunching, you're chewing, it's sweet. So it actually does give you that sort of satisfaction from something sweet.
Yeah.
And it takes you a while to eat. You're not even paying attention to the fact that you're eating it, just like you would be paying attention to the fact that you're eating chocolate, but you just want to eat something.
Yeah.
So, you know, you just make that swap. Like when the kids get home from school, you just put out a plate of chopped up vegetables and they'll just mindlessly eat it. Whereas you could easily also put out a plate of crisps and they would again mindlessly eat it. It's just changing what's in front of you, changing that environment, which is easy to do at home. Obviously, when you're out and about, that's when
you're kind of restricted to what is available to you. Yeah,
and you're just attacked constantly with food is just everywhere.
Yeah,
you can't escape.
But it's interesting what you're saying about children as well, because if you put it out, they will eat it.
Yeah.
I mean, my daughter would come home from school and she would ask for crisps and she'd ask for the junk food. But she'd be sitting there on the tablet. If I handed her grapes or something a little bit healthier, she'd probably sit and eat that anyway.
Yeah, she might initially be like, "What?"
What is
but then
she'd get on with it.
Yeah,
because
it's just mindless. We pay no attention to it, so it could be anything really.
Yeah. And does it matter, like when it comes to like evening eating and weight control? Another thing I did want to mention was weight on the scale versus fat loss.
Yeah,
because that's another one. We were talking earlier about the sort of 90s culture and the pinching of the inch and the obsession with the scale.
Yes.
And it's different, isn't it? Because if you're working out, you could be losing inches, but you could still be putting weight on.
Gaining muscle mass. Yes. So that's particularly important when it comes to women, because the scale weight can fluctuate depending on where you're at with your menstrual cycle, if you're still having one. So that's kind of due to water retention. So the different hormonal fluctuations can cause you to retain a little bit more water as you're going into your period, which is why we can sometimes feel puffy and bloated, and then you'll step on the scale and you're like, whoa, why have I gained a couple of kgs? And it's like, well, you haven't. That's just
it's not
water
fat.
retention. You know, and there's all sorts of things going on. Stress can cause water retention as well. So if you're heavily stressed, that has an impact. So that can mask any progress with fat loss. If somebody is weighing themselves, if somebody's wanting to lose weight, I would usually recommend that they weigh themselves every day, which sounds really damaging, but actually, because the body fluctuates so much, if you only weigh yourself week by week or month by month, on that exact day, you might be really stressed. You might be at the wrong part of your menstrual cycle. You might have had a massive meal the night before. You might just really need to go to the toilet. All these things can add up to like 3 to 4 kgs of extra weight. So the scale is a bit of a tricky one. Measurements can be a really good way to keep track. Photos of yourself and just the way that your clothes fit. Like we all know, you know, after Christmas you put on a pair of jeans and you're like, oh God. And that's a sign. I don't need to hop on the scales to know that I had a lovely Christmas and ate a few too many mince pies, so now I'll just scale it back a little bit. And it can be quite damaging, I think, for people mentally to hop on the scales and just see nothing shift. So for some people it's just don't even go there.
Because it's quite demotivating for some people.
Definitely.
And then they give up.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's interesting, because if you weigh yourself every day, you can work it out, can't you, the average of what you are.
Yes. And so clients of mine who do have a poor relationship with scale weight themselves, etc., but we're going through this journey of trying to lose body fat, if that's what they want to do, oftentimes they'll shut their eyes and take a photo of the scale, so I can see what's happening, but
Okay.
they can't see what's happening.
That's
So I
good.
know that the process is working or not working or whatever.
Yeah.
I can see what's going on. So
Yeah.
that's sometimes quite helpful.
But it is the whole approach, isn't it? It's the
Yeah.
scale, but it's also, as you say, measure yourself, and clothing. Clothing's a big one. In fact, I didn't have any scales for years. I didn't own any. And I just went by whether my jeans could fit. And if they couldn't fit, it's like, do you know what? I'm just going to rein it back in rather than just buying a bigger size. Because I don't want, you know, my goal is not to gain body fat.
Yes, everybody's
which is happening as I'm aging. But again, going back to the menopause, it is a symptom, isn't it? Weight gain's a symptom.
Yes, when you sort of redistribute your body fat and it kind of sits in the middle, which is exactly where we don't want it to go.
Yeah, and I'm noticing that.
Yeah.
It's here, and I'm like, I never had
Where
that
did
before.
it come from? Yeah, and you know, oftentimes you feel like you're still doing exactly the same stuff, but it's just not working the same.
Yeah, I mean, when I was young, I could just skip a meal, drop a dress size,
Yeah.
easy. It's not happening anymore.
Yeah.
I'm in my 40s, and it's not happening anymore.
Yeah, everything gets a little bit harder. Just have to start paying a little bit more attention to what we're doing, really, and you know, putting that priority on looking after ourselves a little bit more, which is a nice thing to do.
Is it harder though to lose weight, or as I say, fat loss rather than weight as you get older?
So metabolically, what's really being affected is your muscle mass. So that's you know, that the muscle tissue is incredibly metabolically active, which is, you know, allowing you to burn more calories at rest, let's say. So we start to lose muscle mass if we don't work to try to maintain it as we get older. So that has a big impact on your metabolic rate, essentially. Also, people tend to move less without realizing it. You know, when you're younger, maybe you're playing sports, then maybe you have kids, you're running around after your kids, you're walking them to school, blah, 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 blah. As we get older, we tend to move less. Maybe we exercise a bit less because we don't, I don't know, have the time, the confidence, the strength, etc. So it's not, so that really is the reason why it feels harder, because overall over the course of that day, we're just not burning as many calories as we used to because of the way we're living our lives and that declining muscle mass. So with that in mind, you know, things that you can do to attenuate that is wear a, you know, step tracker, and so you can try to see, oh gosh, actually I'm not doing that many steps, let's try and increase that by 1,000 over the course of the month, and then maybe next month increase that a bit more. And then for your muscle mass, you can start to do some strength training to try to maintain that, and then that also gets you out and about and moving, potentially going to the gym, so maybe you walk to the gym, so you're just decreasing that sedentary time, and so all of that sort of can help.
And it can be easy as well, because walking is quite a powerful thing. It's quite, what we do talk about steps now, and we can monitor that, but it's quite underrated, isn't it? Because it can be powerful, can't it?
Yeah, and it's accessible to everybody.
Yeah, well, not everyone.
Well, no, not everybody.
You will get people that can't.
Yeah. But you know, as a form of exercise, people who don't feel confident to go to the gym, people who are carrying a bit too much weight, so actually the worst thing that they could do is, you know, start pounding a treadmill or something, for example. Going for a walk is amazing. It's giving you fresh air. It's great for your mental health, doing out in nature if you can, but even if you can't, just walking around in the fresh air, you know, trying to switch off, try not to go out with your ears plugged into something, unless you're listening to Emma's wonderful podcast.
Absolutely. Which I recommend.
So because, you know, then you're just in your own thoughts, you clear your head, you get your steps in, you benefit your mental health, you benefit your physical health. So yeah, walking is one of the key components, I think.
Yeah, it is good. And people can wear like ankle weights and things like that, and weighted vests.
Yeah, the weighted vests were a bit overrated.
Are they?
Yeah.
Not that I've invested in anything.
No,
like
I wouldn't bother.
Okay.
They had a real moment, but they don't really do much.
Are they a bit of a fad?
A massive fad.
Are they?
Yeah. So yeah, you're much better investing in a set of dumbbells for the house
Okay.
and doing a little short 10-minute full body dumbbell session after a walk than going out with a weighted vest on.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't really add much benefit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a gym person. If you have a look in my kitchen, you will see all my weights laid out.
Oh, very good.
You'll see I have on mat there and everything, and I do something every morning.
Amazing.
And I have to I build it into my lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I always say, and I've heard it from other people, that it should be the same as a priority as brushing your teeth. So you should prioritize it in the same way as brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, you're getting up, putting your gym gear on, putting it into your routine, and it's a non-negotiable.
Yes, definitely.
Because then if we come out of sync with it, it's easy to stop.
Yes, it just becomes a habit then, doesn't it? Just part of what you do.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you. That's amazing that you do that.
And it's not easy. It's not always easy.
Yeah.
You know, it's at the moment, we're in January, it's dark in the morning. I want to stay in bed.
Yes.
Just had a nice break over Christmas. So I'm getting back into the 6 o'clock alarm.
I know, it's a bit hardcore. But you just always have to remember how good you feel afterwards.
They say that's when the motivation comes.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
I know, it's annoying, isn't it? You could do with it before.
Yeah.
But that's what I always say. So I went out to a boot camp last night and it was raining, and it's obviously the boot camp's outdoors, and I was like, oh God, I really don't want to go. But I always make sure I book in before I even look at what the weather forecast is going to do.
Just do it without thinking.
And then I was like, you will feel so good after this. You know you will. Even like 5 minutes in, you start feeling great. And I was like, and then obviously, lo and behold, I felt great after doing it. You just have to remind yourself of that feeling, because initially it is hard. And, you know, I live and breathe nutrition and fitness, but even, you know, I find it really difficult. So, you know, I get it when people struggle with
because
stuff
we can't always focus on those good days. We've got to remember that we don't always have those good days. We have bad days as well.
Exactly.
But it doesn't have to be as grueling as a boot camp, or me getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, getting on the mat. It can just be a walk, getting the dog, going for a walk with the dog, going to the school run, or just in your lunch break.
Yeah. Exactly.
Or even at home, just getting some steps in.
Yeah, it's just finding, you know, looking at the week ahead and just finding pockets of time that you can put towards prioritizing your health, and that will look different for everybody. And then the more you start to do that, and the more you start to see the benefits of doing that, the more you'll realize how important it is, and you might start to shift your priority slightly, if you can, to increase those pockets of time. So let's say it was a 10-minute walk in your lunch break, but you think, actually, I could probably do 15. And then before you know it, perhaps you're doing half an hour. And it's trying not to just like overhaul everything in one go, getting really overwhelmed and just packing it in. Just small little changes month by month. So that by the end of this year, your whole life kind of looks really different to how you started. And then the following year you do the same thing, and, you know, by a couple of years time you're rocking and rolling.
That's it. Even though it's a long game, you're looking at the short term, rather than looking at the end goals and thinking, I want to be there now. Just, you know, realistic goals, and in the short term,
which people aren't very good at.
And they're not very good. Exactly.
They want it now.
Instant results. So we talked a lot about the PT side, but that's the one part that you're kind of shifting a little bit away from. And it is all about the nutrition. And so you work mainly with women. Do you work with men as well?
A bit of a mixture, actually. Yeah, a bit of a mixture, which I really, really enjoy. I like working with lots of different people, and they present with all their different goings on. It makes it really interesting for me. I really like, you know, people from all walks of life coming. And
do you get people that have got different health issues, gut problems and chronic illnesses?
All sorts. And then even on the sports nutrition side, working with athletes, or even amateur athletes, or your average gym goer, wanting to improve their performance, wanting to build muscle, or they've got a race coming up, or they've got a team event coming up. You know, I really enjoy that side of things.
So that's a very different nutrition.
That's quite different. And they're also very different type of people to deal with. So I really like the variety that comes
Yeah.
from the nutrition work, from that side, because I did find the personal training, I was sort of, it was really my age women who were coming to me for PT, which is great, which is why they've all become great friends of mine.
Yeah.
But it is lovely to have the variety from the nutrition side.
Yeah. And is it just adults? You ever work with sort of teens or
Just adults? Yes. Yeah. I don't go there with the children and the younger age groups.
Yeah. So is it a case of just sort of unpicking things and putting plans in place?
Yeah, it's kind of different for everybody. So the way the process works really is, so usually I have a bit of an intro call with somebody just to sort of check if we're the right fit for each other, and then I'll send them we'll book them in for a consultation, send them a pre-consultation questionnaire that they can fill in, which gives me a bit more intel so that when we get to the consultation we can really get to it straight away. So then they'll either come to see me, or over Zoom we'll have a extensive consultation, which can be anywhere from like an hour to an hour and a half to 2 hours, really depends on what we've got to go through. And then from there, depending on what they sign up for initially, they'll always work for me minimum for a month.
Okay.
Because it, as we're saying, it takes a lot of time to make these changes. Ideally you want to work with them for longer than that, so they can sign up for that if they want to. But again, they like to put too much in their basket in the first instance. So yeah, then it's just a process of, trial and error a lot of times, because, everybody's really different. Everybody responds to things differently. Everybody has different lifestyles that have to be factored in. So we might try different things and see what fits for them, depending on what their goals are. When it comes to sports nutrition, it's a lot more prescriptive. It's very much more like, well, you need to do that to improve your performance. So it's like a bit more regimented. Whereas with the other stuff, it's a bit more, the client has a bit more autonomy around that, of like how this is going to work for them, and what they'll respond well to and stuff like that.
So I take it, apart from your sports people, anyone that comes to you for nutrition advice, it could be just a very wide range of reasons why they would come to you.
Yeah.
So it could be, as I mentioned, it could be chronic problems.
So
allergies, do people come to you for anything like that?
Allergies, if they,
or intolerances?
So allergies would need to be diagnosed by a doctor, and then that would be potentially if they're struggling to reach their nutrient intake that they need when they've had to cut out a certain food, for example. Then I could help work with them around their diet to make sure that they're covering all their bases that way. Intolerances has again become a little bit of a not a sort of, the water's been muddied in that area, because intolerance tests don't work. They get sold everywhere, but they're just not valid, which is mad that people sell them and still sell them these days, even though anybody with any credibility in this industry will tell you that an intolerance test does not work. I know a few people who call themselves nutritionists and sell them, but the more recent nutrition course I did, if I sold an intolerance test, I'd get my qualification taken away from me. That goes to show, they aren't valid. So with intolerances, yes, maybe if people feel like something's not agreeing with them, they might come to discuss that, or I might pinpoint it out of their diet. If they are presenting with certain symptoms, then we can do food diaries and see what might be triggers. And then what you do is an elimination diet, where you'll take things out, see if it helps, and then you slowly put it back in, see if they can tolerate any amount of it, or if it's a complete no-go. That's sort of how you'd deal with something like that. So it's sort of intolerances, gut health issues, obviously menopause change, people trying to navigate that. People wanting to lose weight is probably the main reason that people would come to see me,
because they just need that guidance, don't they? They're just lost.
And alongside that becomes a lot of the work along with relationship with food, their own body image, a lot of stuff like that. So it's really, you really get in depth with people. I really enjoy that. You really get to know them, and you really help with a lot more than I think what they initially came to you for, which I quite like as well.
And you mentioned supplements, but there are some supplements that are recommended in this
Yes,
country.
definitely.
So,
Yeah.
vitamin D.
Vitamin D for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
That's probably the one thing that
Is
I
it
would say everybody
D3,
needs.
K2 or K? I would
Just
say it wrong.
D3.
D3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So vitamin K is separate, but it comes in abundance in a healthy, balanced diet. So you wouldn't really need to supplement with vitamin K unless you were having sort of super high dose vitamin D, but otherwise no need.
Yeah. They recommend that in this, especially in this country where we don't have the sunlight.
Definitely. Yeah, and even in sunny, even people who live in Australia, if they go out, they've always got sun cream on. So they've got
that barrier then, so we're not absorbing that the sun to make the vitamin D.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so vitamin D is a great one for children as well. I think a lot of people forget that. So from babies all the way up to the elderly, vitamin D across the board. And then there's things like omega-3, for example, which is a really great supplement if people don't like including oily fish in their diet. So I give that to my children because they won't eat oily fish. So that's a really good one. And anybody that has any sort of history of heart issues, omega-3 is a great supplement to take. Women going through menopause transition, including omega-3 either through the diet or through supplementation is great for sort of cardioprotective, for your cognition, so brain health, sort of anti-inflammatory. So that's another one that has a sort of tick from me. And really, then there are sort of peripheral ones for some people, yes, for some people no need, and that again, it just comes all down to the individual.
I mean, I try and take the vitamin D and I take magnesium,
but
I don't take anything else. Sometimes I feel like I need iron. I don't know if I need to be taking that as a supplement, but
again, that would be a blood test from the doctor to see if you were anemic.
So whether you need it or whether you are getting it from your food.
Exactly. And a good way to find out is doing like a recorded food diary, really, and getting it analysed to see if you're getting enough. Because iron is one of those that you don't really want to be chronically supplementing if you don't need it, because unlike a water soluble vitamin that it just becomes expensive urine, that will stay within your system. So that's a good one to sort of go to the doctor to check out if you need it or not.
So you do recommend that, you're not diagnosing people with anything, you're just there to guide them.
Yes, out of my scope of practice to diagnose, for sure.
So where can we find you? So you're online?
I am.
So website?
Yes, so website is it's lm-nutritionandfitness.com. So that's where all of my info is. And then I've got my social media, which is, annoyingly, I couldn't do the dash, so that's an underscore instead. So that's LM_nutrition and fitness. And I actually haven't posted on there for ages, so I will get better at doing that. But there's a lot of content on there. I try to just give out like helpful nutrition information, so you can have a little scroll through there and people can hopefully pick up some tips.
Fabulous. And you work with people all over the world.
Yes, sort of. Yes, one day I'll take over the world.
Thank you so much for
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.